Welcome to the debate. I'm League of Women Voters Pauline Smith from League of Women Voters Southeastern Connecticut. The League is a nonpartisan organization that conducts debates as a service to the community. With me tonight are other members of our League who will be timekeepers for the candidates. And as a nonpartisan event, no partisan material should be visible while we're conducting the debate. None of us working tonight for the League live in this district, so none of us are going to be directly affected by the outcome of this election. As agreed to beforehand, each candidate will have 2 minutes for an opening statement and 1 minute for a closing statement. Between those, I will read questions that you have posed. The questions are being collected by League member, and she'll pass them on to me. I will read the questions that you people have provided. The first candidate to reply gets 60 seconds. The second gets 60 seconds as well. Other candidates can request another 30 seconds for rebuttal or clarification. We might be able to consider 12 or more questions tonight, but that will depend entirely on the proceedings as they evolve. We will alternate who responds first, starting with alphabetical order of the last names. We have limited time, so please do not interrupt with spoken comments or applause until the debate is finished. We want the maximum time to allow all candidates to inform you. Submit your written questions to our person. Yes? No oral questions will be allowed. Now to introduce the candidates. First is Republican Party Bryan Perry, then Democrat Rob Smith, and Independent Joe Zaid. Mr. Perry will get the first turn in an opening statement. The floor is yours.
Yeah. Sure.
Sorry?
Pledge allegiance.
Oh, yes. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming tonight. Thank you, Mr. Smith and Mr. Zaid, for joining me here on stage. And thank you to Pauline Smith and the League of Women Voters tonight. I have a little story to tell. This past summer, I was at a gathering, and one of the students that just recently graduated came up to me and said, "So I heard you're running for Selectman." And she said, "So what legacy do you leave behind?" She knew I served 12 years on the Board of Education, and at first she stumped me because she kind of aged me 30 years. But what I said to her was, my legacy is a legacy you gave to the community and to your school and accomplishments that you've made. And so then I asked her, did we prepare you to handle the next chapter in your life as you move on? And she said, absolutely. Everybody contributed to her success. And I mentioned to her that that's my legacy I leave behind, is your success here in this community, in your school and community. I like to do the same thing 2 years down the road, where can say, this is a place that I enjoy. This is a place I can raise a family, a place where I can retire. And at the end of that, if I've accomplished that, then that's my legacy and accomplishment that I would like to see. Everything will happen in between, but what's important is the citizens of East Haddam.
Thank you. Mr. Smith.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming out on this cold, wet evening, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for sponsoring this event. I figure most of you are here to find out a little bit about the candidates, so I'll fill you in about me. I have a degree in forestry from University of New Hampshire, and I think that degree is going to become very important as I look at the number of dead and dying trees along our roadsides. There's at least 1,000 out there, and I suspect another 1,000 are going to die in the not-too-distant future. I have 34 years' experience in the state park system, starting as a seasonal employee at Gillette's Castle, and then when I retired, I was assistant director of state parks. My responsibilities included running mostly large shore parks, where I supervised law enforcement staff, emergency staff, operations and maintenance, clerical staff, recreation programs, and of course dealt with many union issues and budgets. The 35 years I lived in this town, I spent many of them volunteering for numerous organizations and at a number of functions from Chest Elm to Holiday Doors ad infinitum. The issues that I've seen volunteering is that how important volunteers are to this organization, meaning the town, and the value that they bring. It's 24 years with the ambulance, 7 years as your Commissioner of Conservation Commission, and also 20 years with the Land Trust. My children attended these Haddam schools, and my grandchildren are now attending them. And finally, I served as your selectman for the last 2 years, learning what's good, what's bad, what needs to be changed, and I'm sure I'll be able to accommodate you and make this the best town there is. Thank you.
Great. Mr. Zaid.
Hello, and thanks for coming tonight. I'm Joe Zaid, and I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this event. I came here for many reasons. The low mill rate, the school system was very good, and I personally like the outdoors passive recreation available. I've joined many groups. I'm a member of the Conservation Commission. I've been elected to Planning and Zoning, and I wanted to further devote time to the town. I really enjoy it here. I love this town, and I think we can improve in several areas. I'm going door to door, I notice this town is divided, and I want to be the guy to bring everybody back to the table, to make this town better together. I think we need to promote our assets better. We need to facilitate good business in our town. We also need to move forward as a town and a community. We need to continuously watch how we spend taxpayer dollars. That's a big issue. We need to keep our mill rate. As I said, I moved here for a low mill rate, and I want to keep our mill rate as low as possible. But in moving forward, we have to look at the past. We can't just blindly move forward. We need to, any issues we had in the past, we can't repeat. And we can't move forward without, looking at the past. That's all I have.
Thank you. Now, for the questions from the audience. First is, what is your vision for East Haddam, and how would you achieve it? Start with Mr. Perry for a minute.
Okay. Minute's quick. Vision is keep the process moving quickly. As first selectman, our roles are to help support all the different community boards and commissions through the process and make difficult decisions, but it's listening to them. We do have a project that will be going on in downtown, and a very big project. And again, the goal is to help support, navigate the developer to get through the challenges that may lie ahead so we can get something pretty quickly in this town. There are other many different things, especially keeping the rural character, building our brand list through business, but to bring the business into a unique unique structure. And, I have to learn how. It's a little difficult.
Thank you. Yes. What's your vision for East Haddam, and how would you achieve it?
East Haddam is a unique town. People come here for the rural atmosphere. They see this place as a great place to raise their children. So we have to manage that part of our environment, but we also have to make sure we have a great school system. So I'll be working with the Board of Education and the superintendent to make sure that not only is our school continuing with its excellence, but the school becomes more cutting edge. We have unique opportunities here with businesses. We haven't done a very good job bringing in businesses over the past many years. So I see businesses here that need to come in and meet the requirements of our town. If we do that and enhance our electronic and technical abilities in the town, we can become the gem of this lower Connecticut River Valley.
Thank you. Mr. Zaid, do you want to say anything on the topic of vision?
Absolutely. My vision of East Haddam is where the government works with the townspeople hand in hand. A transparent government. A place that looks out for the taxpayer and keeps spending to a minimum. A place where we can facilitate good business, where our schools are on the leading edge of Connecticut, a town people want to move to. I want people lining up wanting to move to Connecticut. We need to get our school populations back up. And that's one of my goals, to work with the Board of Ed as first selectman to facilitate the best methods for getting our school population back up. We need to stay on the forefront of technology in schools and make sure our young ones have a good place to learn.
Thank you. The next question is somewhat similar in nature. What's the single most important accomplishment you would want to achieve if you were elected first selectman? And we'll start this one with Mr. Smith.
Wow. Well, there's a lot of things I'd like to get accomplished. During my tenure as selectman here, I've seen an awful lot of things that have remained on the agenda for month after month after month. We seem to have been unable to move forward with it because of the number of issues. So we talked a little bit already about doing something down in the village. We'll have proposals in from the sole bidder on that in early next year, 2020. So that would be an enhancement. But we have to get our people and our businesses to come to town here to get some of the things that people want. We need the grocery store reopened. We need, some people would say the most important thing is a breakfast place. But we need to enhance our businesses at the same time maintaining a rural atmosphere. delicate balance, one I'll work on to achieve.
Thank you. Mr. Zaid. Yes. What's the single most important accomplishment you would want to achieve if you're elected first selectman?
Well, that's fairly easy. I want to get the people back involved in the town politics. I want the people to help make the decisions. There's just very few people stepping up and volunteering to do that massive job. We need the whole town to participate. Vote turnouts are very low, especially at the referendum. I mean, there's a missing link there that needs to be repaired. We have to, that's what I would consider my biggest accomplishment, would be getting the town back involved in the decision making.
Thank you. Mr. Perry, do you have anything to say on this?
Yeah, my biggest accomplishment that I want to achieve is initiate a town charter study committee, possibly followed by a charter revision committee or revitalization committee. All that with creating a business-friendly environment for the town, which could help our grain list grow and bring down our taxes.
Thank you. Next question. What will you do to deal with the dead and dying trees lining our roads and located on private property? We'll start with Mr. Zaid.
Well, I think if they're a danger to people and they're close enough to the town property, that we should try to set up some deal with the property owner where they pay partial to help get the tree down. But I don't think we should be having dangerous trees hanging over our heads. I mean, it's a hazard. And the dead and dying trees near anybody's property, they have to go. Essentially, I mean, one way or the other, they have to get cut down. That completes my statement.
Thank you. Mr. Perry.
Yeah. I believe we've already started funding for this project. It's a very expensive one, but there is a process and it'll take a couple of years. We do need to address it, and we do need to go through the process and at least fund it for the next couple of years. It's really late, but seeking recommendations through the great boards and commissions, especially the Board of Finance, to kind of help through that process as well.
Okay. Thank you. Next question is on education.
I wouldn't mind answering.
Yes. Please do.
Potential for liability to the town is extreme. On average, we have 7 trees per mile, and those are really dangerous trees. The number, if you look at other trees, is over 10 per mile. That's over 1,200, and there's more trees dying daily. I've approached our congressman for this area and our state senator to see what we can do about getting funding from this, either from FEMA or other venues. There was a bill put forth in the in the House last year to the state to get some funding similar to what they did with the Crumpling Foundation to help all the towns in the east. So right now we've had a period when we should have a crew working on this trees every day. It's been a week or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 when we haven't had anybody working. We need to maximize the number of crews working in this town, and we need to mechanize all of where we can, because there's so many trees. It's going to take not 2 years or 3 years, but several years.
Thank you. The next is an education question. What is the future of our schools? Starting with Mrs. Perry.
The future of our schools is continue the great work we've done, continuing our STEM programs, adding to our STEM programs, and always achieving to get to the next level. We never stop evaluating. We never stop looking at policy or curriculum. We have a great bunch of kids, and they're high achievers, and we want to keep that for them. We also want to keep to a level of funding our education, and there's many creative ways. Over the past 10 years, while on the board, our budget increase is 1.3%, while our contractual obligations were 3%. So there was a lot of looking at our budget and how we can be creative without sacrificing the programs that we can offer.
Thank you.
And could you repeat the question?
Yes. What is the future of our schools, Mr. Smith?
So the future of our schools is an exceptionally bright one. We have great programs here. The STEM program has enabled this school to win the electric car competition up at Lime Rock several years in a row. We should be looking at expanding those programs. Maybe we can bring in students from other school districts to offset some of the programs, the cost of those programs. We need also to add arts, so we can move from STEM to STEAM. We have so many talented students that may be being left behind. We can't afford that in any way, shape, or form. So this school system has great attributes. We can maintain it and improve it. And I see it, as I said earlier, cutting edge technology bringing us all the way into the 21st century and beyond.
Thank you. Mr. Zaid.
Well, the future of our schools, I hope they continue to be strong. We need to continuously improve and upgrade our systems to make sure that we're keeping up with other schools in the state. I'd like us to be the top 5 school in the state, and it's going to take a lot of work. I don't honestly know where we stand right now, but I don't think we're at a top 5 school. And it's very important that we keep our children's education as good as we can. I know it takes a lot of our budget, but it's worth it. We need good education, and our future of education is going to continue to be good.
Thank you. Another question related to education. What characteristics or qualifications are necessary or even valuable in a school sports athletic coach? Mr. Smith.
I think the most important attribute for any coach is their ability to interact with their athletes. We have a number of programs in this school system. We have programs that need to be enhanced. The track team needs a track. As the superintendent said, we can't have kids practicing in our parking lots and on our roads. We need to move forward with the track. It's going to cost some money, but it's way, way overdue. So, working with students, I've coached many, many teams from Little League to U14 soccer. It can be a challenge. It also brings great joy when they perform. And when they have learned some of the simple lessons that you've told them, and I think that's what you're looking for in a coach, making sure that the people and the students and the athletes appreciate your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Zaid. Yes. What characteristics or qualifications are necessary or even valuable in a school sports athletic coach?
I think being a good communicator, being a strong leader, being an understanding coach, looking from the child's perspective needs to be good education or college education would be a plus. Somebody does not get frustrated easily and hard worker. Those are all good attributes for a coach, in my opinion.
Make an addition? Possible addition?
Yes. Your turn.
So one thing I did mention in that very small amount of time is that I think a coach needs to tell the kids winning isn't all important. Becoming good citizens, good person, and secondarily, great athletes. Those are all a really important story that needs to be told to every student athlete we have on our team.
Thank you. Mr. Barrett.
Great, thanks. Compete, mentor, and train. Leaders that provide and establish standards. We did that with our coaches last year, and as well as our student athletes. The last time it was done was 1987, the job description. So we brought it up to 2018 standards. As a result, which is most important, is last year we had the most student participation in school history. So we're doing something right, no matter if it's sports, arts, or education, math, science. The role of Board of Ed is to look at each program that we do, evaluate, and do the best for our students.
Thank you. Moving to more general government. Aside from the need to add to the tax base, how might you address some of the waste in our town government? Start with Mr. Zaid.
You have to analyze every bit of spending. I mean, you need to audit how we're spending the money. I mean, and it has to be essential. We can't just throw money at things and without thoughtfully thinking it through. We need to take a good hard look at what we really need. Is it something we need? Is it essential to town life? I mean, these are all good, there's many other ways that we can look at spending, wasteful spending, but those are what I could come up with off the top of my head. So.
Thank you. Mrs. Berry.
Great. On the board side that I was a part of for 12 years, to get that 1.3% increase with our contractual obligations being 2.3%, we looked hard. We came up with creative ways. You have to be creative in order to get to that point. On the town side, I think the right process would be to, if elected, actually sit down with each department head, find out how they can be creative in reducing their tax, their expenses, and look at all the needs that the town needs before really looking at and addressing what is wasteful spending. I think getting the time to do my own evaluation first would be probably a fair approach for the employees and the department heads to state their case before I assess what is wasteful spending.
Thank you. Mr. Smith.
Many of our employees have great ideas. They've never had the chance to have them brought forth. So as Mr. Perry points out, that this is something that he should be aware that the selectmen always meet with the various board members and the commission members and the committee members so that we know where the money is being spent, why it's being spent. We can make lots of cuts and create very small budgets, but the reality is, if you don't spend money this year, you're going to spend $7 or $8 or $10 more down the road. The costs of running a town are somewhat fixed. You have to evaluate what's essential, what's important, and get the information from the people and evaluate their ideas, because the employees often can save the town a lot of money. So that's something we really want to focus on. Thank you.
Thank you.
There we go.
Yes.
Okay, I'm well aware, Mr. Smith, because I've been part of those meetings, pretending that you do talk, but the question was, what is wasteful spending right now in town, which no one answered. So I think, again, meeting with the department heads and evaluating what your budget's going to be, and not come out and say, hey, this is wasteful and that's not wasteful. It's just my opinion when we do that, what's wasteful or not. There are many committees that would participate and contribute into that whole process.
Thank you. Anyone else want?
So, Mr. Perry brings up the point, but the reality is that that evaluation does go on. I would say that we evaluated for wasteful spending in the last budget period, and the result was that we had a very small increase in the monies that we asked for from the town. So, wasteful spending is one of those things that is much, in many cases, in the eye of the beholder. But we've done everything we can, and now we need to address those issues that need to be addressed so we're not wasting money in the future.
Thank you. Next question. How would you support improved and greater online licensing, permitting, registrations, etc., for East Haddam residents and businesses? We'll start with Mr. Perry. Oh,
I'm good.
you have something to add?
No, I think I stated everything I would like to say.
Okay. I'll repeat the question. How would you support improved and greater online licensing, permitting, registrations, etc., for East Haddam residents and businesses?
Well, first, it's find out where the choking points are right now, and what we're not doing, and come up then with a plan. I know you can pay taxes online, and that would be something which would ease up a lot of the work in the town clerk's office. But that'd be definitely something to look into long term.
Thank you. Mrs. Smith.
Yes. So we have many things now that were online that were not online years ago, but there's more that can be done. We need to integrate all of our systems so that work that's done in one department, one division, can be reflected in another division, so we're not repeating our efforts. Our GIS mapping and the land use and town planning side need to be updated, and they need to be available to everyone online. We're one of the few towns that does not have that. There's many, our new meeting rooms have technology that has not been utilized at all yet, so that people can see what's being discussed. We're still relying on flip charts and maps that the public cannot see. All those things need to be addressed. We have a great opportunity to take advantage of this. And I look forward to moving that along, because technology is the real issue for the future. People should not have to come to the town for the simplest piece of paperwork. It can be done online.
Thank you. Mr. Zaid. Certainly. How would you support improved and greater online licensing, permitting, registrations, etc., for East Haddam residents and businesses?
I would be for supporting that, but obviously we need somebody in town to operate that system that we don't have. So it's obviously going to cost more for the town to support something like that when what we have is working. And I don't hear too many complaints that it's not working well. I mean, if it comes to a point where we can get somebody or repurpose somebody who works for the town to operate that system, then I would facilitate that. I think that's the future, but we are a small town, and those luxuries may not be needed as much here as some people think that they are.
Thank you. Yes.
So we have the IT personnel to handle upgrades. We need to have the focus to spend the money to move forward with making that happen. When I was elected 2 years ago, one of the first things I questioned was the status of our website. It's not a bad website from 1970 or 80 or whatever. It needs to be updated significantly. And a lot of the information that should be available there, it's hard to find. So that's where we need to make some changes. We have the capability of maintaining it. We just have to get it in place.
Thank you. Mr. Zaid.
I don't have a rebuttal.
How would you support improved and greater, that's the other one. Improved online licensing, permitting registration for East Haddam residents and businesses? Okay. So, I'll move on. Next question. What do you see for our police force moving forward? Mr. Smith.
So we have a pretty large police force. We have 6 full-time officers and 3 part-time officers right now. The 6 full-time officers includes our resident state trooper. They're very efficient. I think they could be more efficient. And with my background in supervising law enforcement, I think I can correct some of the items I see as issues. There's been talk about moving forward with the police department. I don't think this town wants to spend an additional $3 million to establish a police department here in town. Because you need a jail, you need a new radio system, you need a whole bunch of things. Very expensive. We get that with the cost of the resident trooper, which is just under $200,000. So we now have a school resource officer or a school district resource officer, which will address many of the issues that we found the public wanted to address in the school system.
Thank you. Mr. Zaid.
Well, we also have a large town, and it takes a lot of police officers to cover this entire town. I look to the police department to let me know what they need in that department. I mean, they're the ones who would know that the best. And I think we're doing a good job, and we need to keep the citizens safe in town. And I'm okay with the SRO also, because there's nothing more important than keeping our children safe at school. And I think it's very much needed in today's society. And I'm happy with the police department.
Thank you. Any rebuttals? You do have a shot.
Okay. All right, 2 years ago we added 2 or 3 years ago we added 2 officers. Since then our crime rate went down 50%. We do have 5 full, 1 SRO recently in our resident trooper, as well as 3 part-timers. I support the current staffing levels of the police department. They do a lot of work. It's a lot to cover this entire town. And on the school side, last night the Board of Ed talked about armed guards possibly in the future, keep that process going at a lower rate than an SRO. But the Board of Ed will take care of that.
So the question comes up with our 4 or 5 full-time officers and 4, let's take the SRO out of the mix. When those last 2 officers were hired several years ago, yes, the crime rate did go down, but statistics are interesting things, where you can arrest 2 or 3 people and you can solve a dozen or 2 dozen or 3 dozen crimes in town. So you need to be cautious when you're evaluating statistics. But the reason those 2 officers were required was that we were told that there would be no open shifts in town. And invariably, we still have to get coverage from the troop because we have vacancies vacancies and vacant shifts. I mean, a couple of Saturdays ago, 3 Saturdays ago, a trooper had to come down from somewhere on his routine patrol to address a problem in Shag Park. That's what I'm talking about, efficiencies. I'm not talking about the abilities or the concerns of the officers. It's just that the scheduling needs to be, and supervision needs to be addressed.
Thank you. Go ahead.
With the state's economic firm, with that comes certain types of crime. And in order to combat that, the 4 as well, quite busy in that process. So reducing any of the police force wouldn't be ideal for this town.
Thank you. Next question. What is your strategy for creating revenue versus raising the mill rate on property? Start with Mr. Zaid.
Well, we need to improve the business climate and generate or add to our grant list to generate tax dollars to keep the burden off the taxpayer.
Water cleaning, it helps keep us cooler.
Thank you. Mr. Zaid. Sure. Do you think that East Haddam is or will be affected by climate change? And if so, how should the town prepare?
Well, we already have plans, and yes, I do think everybody's going to be affected by climate change. But how can we prepare? I mean, we proper plan it. That's the only way to prepare for climate change. We have plans in place already that put structures at the proper distance from the water for planned water rising. How else can we prepare? Is we can try to cut back on idling vehicles in town. Small little things add up. Can we really stop climate change here? Probably not. But we could try. We could keep our town as clean as possible and set an example for the rest of the towns in Connecticut.
Thank you. Mr. Beverly.
Yeah, climate change is in the minds of the beholder. I think what we need to focus on in this town is focus on recycling, since we recycle 25%, where our neighboring towns are recycling around 60%. So there's the first step on that. The next step is to talk to, which I would do if elected, talk to the state and tell them to stop putting pesticides along the guardrails in our town.
Thank you. Yes.
We call it climate change, but I really think we should be calling it climate catastrophe. As a friend of mine, after 50 years, spending getting 2 PhDs in the Navy, he said the number one concern of the military is combating climate change. When our military is concerned about climate change, we can't say it's in the eye of the beholder. It's in everybody's interest to address this in whatever way they can. And yes, Mr. Perry's right, we should be recycling more. But we have to be more proactive than that. And so, sticking our head in the sand and hoping that things are going to change in the not-too-distant future, and if we increase our recycling, that's going to solve the problem, that's inadequate.
Thank you.
Well, the military is one of the biggest contributors to climate change. But I fully support the military, but they are adding CO2 to the air at rapid rates, as much as a small country. But I don't think that we're going to, climate change is already affecting everyday life. We're having freak storms. We're being overgrown with invasives because of climate change accelerating it. There's really no good way to go about it. We just need to be cognizant and mindful that, everything we do affects the climate.
Thank you. Now I think this will probably be our final question. Next year, 2020, it's time for the constitutionally required census in the United States. What will you do to make sure that every resident of East Haddam is adequately counted? Start with Mr. Ferris.